Hello everybody, welcome to the Decks of the Weekend. I'm actually not recording this video on Monday as I usually do because on Monday actually won't be around. I won't be streaming because my girlfriend graduates, so we have to go to Parma where she studied. So I'm recording this on Sunday, so I have a limited visions of the events that happen, only following the one that happened on Saturday. Although I figured quite a lot of things happened on Saturday, so it was worth just recording this now rather than on Monday night. So what happened this Saturday? A very interesting deck by Respect the Cat made the top 4 of the Modern Challenge. It is the Omnath deck, but it's playing Keruga, the Macro Sage, instead of Kahera. You'd be like, why? Keruga doesn't let you play Ren and 6, doesn't let you play all the powerful removal spells like Lightning Bolt, Another Heat, Prismatic Ending, but mostly Ren and 6. Well, the reason why Respect the Cat, which is a very accomplished Yorion player, went to Keruga rather than Kahera is that he basically just found out that Kahera was bad and that Kahera wasn't giving you anything, so you weren't using that mana burst that Omnath gives you. Because what why Yorion was amazing in this deck and wasn't any good in the other Yorion decks, was that you had access to 9 mana the following turn you cast Omnath, or sometimes even the same turn that you cast Omnath. So what happens was that you were able to go your Omnath, and next turn, survive with Omnath, fetch land Yorion, because that's 8 mana, you just would draw 3 cards, the game would be over. And that's the same thing that Keruga gives you. If you've never seen this card, the companion request is that you can't play 3 drops. Sorry, 0, 1, or 2 drops, only 3 drops or more. But that means that you can still play cards like Fire and Ice, Dead Gone, Dismember, or now Leyline Binding. Leyline Binding was huge in the Cascade decks because it was a Cascade deck is basically a Keruga deck because you can't play 0, 1, 1, or 2. And Leyline Binding, that's what broke Rhinos for me, because you're able to play this turn 2 1 mana removal spell, or double spell on turn 4. And this deck is similar. Funnily enough, Respect the Cat added Touch of the Spirit Realm, which is a card that I also added towards the end of my Yorion Rhinos, the very last weekend the Yorion was legal, I had this card into my deck. What this card does is you're able to go Solitude or Fury and blink it on turn 2, so that you're able to stick a Solitude or Fury into play, because what you do is it's basically like an ephemerate effect. You evoke the Solitude or the Fury, and then you channel with the second ability, and you flicker the Solitude. It comes back end of turn. You exile 2 creatures, you keep the Solitude. Or you can just channel with this effect, and you can it's funny, you have so many situations that this card comes up. You can, I don't know, for example, I blinked a Kadra Complete token because you exile the Germ and it comes back end of turn, and of course it's unequipped. Or you can exile a Underworld Breach against a Teferi. Sorry, it says target artifact or creature. You can exile the Grinding Station against a Teferi, because this is not any permanent. This only exiles artifact or creatures. But similar, it's not an Oblivion Ring, it doesn't exile Planeswalker or Enchantment, but it's fine. Another card that he had success with, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, he went top 4. He went top 4 in the challenge, beating Underworld Breach in top 8, losing to Underworld Breach in top 4. That's gonna be the next deck we talk about. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, it's clearly a very powerful card that we're gonna see after again. It's starting now to see a lot of play Modern with the Creativity deck, and now also this deck and the Underworld Breach deck we're gonna see next. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, honestly, the limit of this card are endless. Who knows? It's gonna come up in more Legacy format, because we already see it in Legacy in the Ancient Tomb decks, but maybe even more. This card is great, and yeah, if you've been playing Magic, you certainly notice that. Risen Reef still being here, it's kind of a little bit strange. I believe that, of course, Risen Reef is a good card with Elemental because it takes back the drawback. But without Ephemerate and things like that, I'm not so sure on this one. But again, if you can go Risen Reef Solitude and you don't lose the card, so that's the good thing. And then yeah, you have this Keruga card, which is Like Yorion. Basically, the reason why we're playing Kiruga in this deck, it's been replacing Yorion. So it's a card advantage companion, because sometimes you just go Kahira and nothing happens. They kill your Omnath and you got your 3-2, whereas with Kiruga, you can draw like 2 or 3 cards. Remember, Leyline Binding is in play when you cast Kiruga, Fable of the Mirror Breaker is in play, Touch of the Spirit Realm might be in play, and boom, you just draw like really just cards for just like that. Of course, you can't play Flusterstorm, Veil of Summer. I mean, obviously the restrictions are big, but you still have other options. We're playing Modern here. We have Autovar Wolf Form against Creativity. You have Foundation Breaker and Force of Vigor against the Urza Saga decks. You have Endurance against Graveyard Strategies, Dispute. So this deck reminds me a little bit of 4-color Rhinos in the sense that the restrictions were there and the power level of the late game is there. Yeah, you know, Omnath Flares. Lot of to improve. Again, as I said last time, this deck, the Omnath deck, will be around for sure because the card is super powerful. You have to figure out the shell, and this is super innovative. I like it. Very, very clever deck building. The next deck I want to talk about is actually from Modern again. I'm not gonna go into Pioneer or Legacy today. I want us to just see one more Modern deck because Fable Breach is a deck that is super successful on the Paper American circuits. It hasn't really burst out of Magic Online yet. We've seen it making top 8s pretty consistently, but didn't get a win yet, and it finally got it this weekend in the hands of Corey Baumeister. Very content creator proponent of this archetype, so very cool to finally see this deck getting there, and he was playing Fable instead of Legend Shredder. This is this very same list as the last event he played, but he replaced Legend Shredder with Fable. Legend Shredder is obviously a card that lets you loot with, you know, just put things in the graveyard for Breach, so that's cool. You play the 7 0-mana card, so you can easily go Shredder 0-mana card. But, you know, experimenting with Fable is nice. Discarding a Grinding Station is nice, in the same way that it was nice with the Shredder. But yeah, I mean, again, unclear what's the best shell, but this deck is definitely powerful. It's kind of like, you know, very underrated for a long time, and now it finally, I think, is getting the spotlight it deserves. So what are the best ways to handle this deck? I want to say that a combination of hate for Urza Saga, so something like Force of Vigor, Wear Tear, are definitely going to be good, as well as some Graveyard hate, but not like Rest in Peace or Leyline, because they just bounce it with Teferi, or, you know, they have 3 Teferis overall. They might even bring in the Wear Tear. I really like Endurance. I mean, again, sure, they have Teferi, so Teferi stops Endurance, but Teferi is just a great card, so you kind of have to deal with this one regardless. Endurance also stops Emery. It can stop like the Value Breach, so I like Endurance a lot these days. But yeah, overall, this is the deck that won the challenge. Again, he beat Respect the Cat in the top 4. I love to talk about Modern. I could really stay here forever. Let's talk about Pauper too, because in Pauper, I mean, it's not a new deck, of course, because everybody know about this deck, but this deck split the final of the challenge. You can say like you won the challenge. It's Slivers. It really is Slivers. I'm not joking here. Slivers split the final of the challenge. It's just slivers. You're playing predatory slivers, muscle slivers, sinew slivers. All of those are commons. So you just go big. You just go big with these. You have Leader Stampede and Winding Way to pick them all up in your hand. You got Provoke slivers, Haste slivers, removal spell, Mana slivers. What else do you got? Flanking slivers. The Pump Toughness, which is very relevant, Benevolent Bodyguard to protect your lords. And then you have Manor Gate and Survivor's Encampment as mana fixers. But yeah, why is Slivers now good? What happens? Well, you could say that the various affinity and affinity. This deck, you have the Clarkland Shaman, which can definitely hurt this deck. So Clarkland Shaman is going to be very powerful against this deck. But the Mirror Terror definitely struggles against Affinity. In fact, the player that won with Affinity said that he won the previous weekend with the Dimir Terror, and he said that this was his worst matchup. So he played this deck and he beat countless Dimir Terror this weekend. Dimir Terror by far the most played deck at the moment in Pauper. I believe I've showed it a couple of weekends ago, but it was really everywhere these days. So yeah, if you like this tribe, it's definitely the best time to pick it up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the decks of the weekend. I'll try to make a video of the decks of the weekend every Monday. Next weekend, I'll be in Berlin. I'll go to record some videos for Card Market. So I'll leave on Thursday, return on Monday. We'll do a lot of very cool videos with the Turo, Arne, and Frank Harson over there. So I look forward to in their YouTube channel. In the meanwhile, on my YouTube channel, you'll find plenty of good videos every day. So stick around. Have a good day, everybody. Enjoy your week.